Hi everyone, it's Carolyn, film critic and journalist, and this is one of my interviews for the 2023 Busan International Film Festival. And today I am joined by festival programmer of the Asian content at the festival, Park Sun-young, and she's agreed to speak with me about her work with the festival. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question I'm always interested in asking people is how they get into the work they do. So how did you become involved with working with the Busan International Film Festival?
Actually, I studied it from history, and that during my PhD course, my professor asked me to work with him at Busan International Film Festival in 2005. So at that time, I was the AFA manager, the Asian Film Academy. So I worked for the academy for 3 years at Busan, and then went back to the university to finish my PhD thesis. Then work at the university as a research professor, and then came back to Busan 2019. Since then, I work here as an Asian film programmer.
Right, so you have a very academic background in film.
Yeah, maybe.
Can I ask what your thesis was on? What your thesis subject was?
It's a kind of a film history on the Korean film, so especially the Korean comedy films.
Okay,
I
so
love comedy.
Right, the Korean. I haven't watched many Korean comedy, but I've watched a lot of Korean comedies. But a lot of the more recent films. But I know, like, for Korean comedies, like, there's a very specific style of comedy. Like, a lot of it is kind of like what you would call like slapstick comedy, and for like a lot of the older films, like in the 60s and the 70s, a lot of it was very brash and more. I guess you could say more provocative than the comedy now. I find that the comedy now is probably maybe a bit more conservative than it was back then. Like,
yeah, I think so. You know much about the Korean film history?
I know a bit. I try to study a bit, and I try to watch films from different eras and different decades. I don't try only to watch like the more modern films. I try to watch, if I can, watch some of the older films as
Actually,
well.
my thesis is more focused on the 1960s, 1950s and 60s, how the Korean comedy film is made based on the old comedy style, the theater, and then other factor from America, the Chaplin comedy and Buzz Keaton's, and then also as well as from the Japanese comedy style. So how it affect the formation with Korean comedy films. So I focused on that. But now it's very different from my thesis. I work at the current Asian cinemas.
And that's interesting because there was just recently a special program put on by the Lincoln Film Center where they did a specially curated program on films from the Korean films from the 1960s called it the Golden Decade of Korean cinema. And like there was a list of, some of them were comedy films, but I didn't get a chance to watch those ones yet. But like I watched films like Madame Freedom,
I see,
Aimless Bullet. There was one called The Staircase, something with a staircase was in the title. But like,
I see the Imani's film.
I think so. Yeah, it was one about this doctor and he.
But I don't know the English title.
Yeah, but like I know like, and for a lot of the Korean comedy, like the Korean variety shows came out of those came out of that era, right? So I'm interested in like watching Korean films from different eras. So you did you had your thesis in a subject like that, and then you transitioned into now working with Busan. So like, what is it like working in the film festival side? Because your history is in the academics of film, studying film. So like, what is it like becoming a festival programmer where your job is to pick and choose films? And like, I know it can be very hard when you're saying like there's films I want to show but we can't show it, and having to make that choice.
Actually, my professor urged me to work here. Yeah, so that time as I mentioned, I worked at the AFA, the Asian Film Academy. So have you ever heard that?
I have, and I know there's also, is it the Korean, is it CAFA?
CAFA.
I know of CAFA, and I know of the Korean film. I know of them. I know one person that I've met here in April for the Busan International Film Festival, Sebastian Simone, because he's a professor and he teaches editing at the film school where they teach like production.
I think it's not the AFA. AFA is we made it 2005, and then after that we invited the 24 fellows in Busan, the young filmmakers all over the Asia, from all over the Asia, and then we also invite the dean, so very famous Asian film directors, and then 2 mentors. One for the directing mentor, and then the other one is the cinematography mentors. I was one of the founder of that program. So until now, I'm not sure, but maybe 500 or something alumni we have. So they are they were very young, and now they are very important filmmakers in their countries as well as the wide film industry. So as I work there, so I really love that job. So to see the young filmmakers gathered and then make some interaction and their relationship there, and then they develop themselves there. So work together and make 2 short film during the 2 or 3 weeks with the mentors and then Korean specialist for the film field. So it was really fruitful and very memorable memory for me. So after I came back to the university, always it's a very good memory for me, and then I really love the job. So, and then the festival is also it's very attractive for me. So yeah, I would like to make something with some other peoples and then show some good film for them. So it's a really great job, I think. So when I got some suggestion to come back to Busan as a programmer, so I gladly accept that, and then now I'm here.
And for you, like when you're selecting films, what is one of the most important things for you? Because I was looking at the film list, and a lot of them are first sight features for the directors. You know, like there's there's the guest, the director for that. I believe this is his first feature film, and then for The Monk and the Gun, that's his first feature, his second feature film. And then there's a few others where like they have either 1 or 2 feature films. So like, and like many of them are veteran actors, like veteran directors who've been directing like say 20, 30 years. A lot of them are younger directors. So is that something that you really pay close attention to?
Not really. Actually, we have several sections here. So one of them is newcomers. Newcomers is the first time or second time directors only. And then we need world premiere there, and it's our main competition section only for the Asian films. And then we have the Jiseok section. It's also competition section, and Jiseok is our late program director, and he died. He passed away in 2017 at Cannes. So he's a kind of a father of Asian cinema. So every Asian filmmakers remembered him. So we decided to make the Jiseok section and Jiseok award when he passed away in 2017, and then now it's a very important competition section in Busan, and it's for the more experienced directors like Briante Mendoza, and this year we invite Briante Mendoza, Mustafa Faruqi, and also the Prasanna Vitanage from Sri Lanka. So the Jiseok section is more for more experienced filmmakers. And then we have also window on Asian cinema section. So Pawo's film was there. So it's there. So it's we can see some trend of Asian cinema from the section. So we invite the younger filmmakers as well as the experienced one for the section. But as you might know, for the competition section, we need the world premiere or at least the international premiere. So only an Asian premiere or Korean premiere things. So we can invite the section, the window on Asian cinema.
Right. I think like one of the films, the criteria you're talking about for the premieres, one of the world premieres I think was Work to Do. I believe I'm not sure what the Korean title is, but it's called Work to Do. But it takes place, it's talking a lot about the culture of work in Korea, and like having to lay off people and like the toll that takes on the HR department. So I thought it was a really interesting film. So like that's another thing that I've been noticing with the films that are platformed here, that the ones I've seen, is a lot of them really talk about interrogating like Korean culture for the ones made in Korea. Like, even for a lot of the other Asian films, it's talking about how these countries interact with the world, and how like there's the culture, local culture, but then it's all about how the world itself influences these cultures, and I think that's one of the things I love about Korean cinema and I love about Asian cinema is, while a film may be set, for instance, in South Korea or in Bhutan or in Malaysia or in Indonesia, and the stories can be very much about their cultures, like there's still stories that are relatable to people around the world, like it shows like there's still a universality in Asian storytelling and in Asian cinema. And for a festival like Busan, I'm so happy to be here because this is my first time here, but I being able to watch a film festival in Asia, I'm watching the stories unfold in the countries, I think is a very special opportunity. It's a very special thing. So for you, what is the thing you look forward to the most with programming a film, like programming the different categories and everything, especially for the Asian content category?
So actually, whenever I watch some Asian films, I feel like every Asian country has their own history, and it's very sad one. So it's very similar to other Asian countries. So we Korean, we also have some sad history, and then now we also we also have the North Korea. So it's a kind of conflict situation now. So the war is not end yet. So but so many Asian countries has that kind of history. So I think I like that kind of film which reflect their society and their people, but very in a cinematic way. So I love that kind of film. So the Asian countries films really pure. I don't know how can I say it, but yes, actually I like that kind of film. So even though my major is comedy, but also the good comedy has some so multiple layers. Then it also reflects some kind of the society and their people in that situation or in those time. So I usually respect that kind of film.
But that kind of makes sense to me though, considering your background is like you specialize in films in the comedy genre, and being drawn to films with more sad or more serious concepts. It kind of makes sense to me because in theater, like comedy and drama are opposites. Sadness and happiness are opposites, and I think for particularly like Korean society and Korean culture and Korean filmmaking, and even like other Asian countries, a lot of the comedy is a coping mechanism, you know, it's a way of survival, you know. And I find for Korean comedy, a lot of the comedy comes from some of the most dramatic and sad situations, but it's a way of saying like we can still laugh, you know, we can still find the absurdity in a situation like this. And so I think, and like even using like The Monk and the Gun as an example, that film is funny, and the comedy comes from this absurd, potentially dangerous situation, you know. It's about these people looking for this gun that could have very devastating situations, but it's funny, like the way how Pawo directs it and wrote it is so funny. And like and so I think it kind of makes sense that you're drawn to films like that. And you mentioned like the conflict between North and South Korea. Like, yes, people, the war is not over. It's only an armistice. It was never declared officially over. And like for a lot of like Korean films, like that you know that's there. You know that history is there. Like this is still something on the back of, especially for older people. Like this is still on the back of their mind, and like that does play a part in the stories, in the concept. So. And in saying that that's what you're drawn to, is there any particular film that you programmed that you were saying this is a film that I really feel connected to, and this is a film that I really want people to see? And like is there a particular film like that for you this year that you
This year. So I really love the Prasanna Bitanagi's film from Sri Lanka. The title is Paradise. So the Sri Lanka, their government declared their bankrupt. Nation bankrupt.
Yeah, bankruptcy. I think it was declared in like 2019, 2020, somewhere around there.
2022, last year.
It's just last year?
Yes,
oh, it timed me something.
April.
Yeah.
So the film, the time of film is 2022, last year's June. Just 2 months later, the declaration. So one couple from India went to there for sightseeing, but they experienced some odd things there. So some thief entered their room, and they put all their digital things, and then they called the police. And but the police is not real police. They are very bad.
They're like corrupt. They're like corrupt police,
And then their countries are so very bad situation. So it's the story inside the Sri Lankan situation nowadays. So it's very strong, and it's very reflective, and then it's really great for the story. It's very good story making, and so it has some the cinematic interesting and cinematic joy inside them, and then also it reflects their society very well, and then also the common human's instinct or common human's thoughts or something. So I really love that film.
I'll be sure to check it out, because
sure.
I remember I can't. It was only last year, but it feels so much longer ago when Sri Lanka did declare bankruptcy, because they were a monarchy, and like there was issues with the monarchy, like not running the country properly, and like they had elections. It was a lot because it was happening at the same time with Thailand, because Thailand was having issues with their monarchy too, and they were having like struggles there. I remember that protests and everything. So that was only last year. Feels so much longer. Feels so much longer ago. But I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, like you have films like this where like you have these filmmakers like saying, this is how our countries are being affected right now, and this is like filmmaking is the way to get the story out, because sometimes the news media doesn't really pay attention to the stories, but filmmaking is one way to record it, right? And I think that's one of the things I love about film festivals is I wouldn't be able to like really find out about a film like that unless I cover a film festival, unless I attend a film festival.
And then it also talk about their ordinary people, and then very multiple layers inside the society. It did with some high hierarchy of their papers, and also it tells about that conflict. So it tells a lot of things about the Sri Lankan society as well as our society.
Right, because you can see like there's certain commonalities in the struggles and everything, and like because I know like Korea had their election last year, so you and that was a ride. We're not gonna discuss it, but it was a ride. It was a ride. You know, elections in every country is a ride, but when you're trained, it was a lot was happening. But I know we have to wrap it up because you have to get ready for the closing ceremony. So like. It's the end of the festival. Like, how do you feel now? You're just like, I've survived another festival season.
And then also, the closing film is also mine. So I was so busy.
I love this film because I actually saw it. I love it. Yes, I cover it. And so that's the film. So the film that's the closing film for the festival is the movie Emperor, starring Andy Lau by Ning Hao. It's so good.
So at once I watched the screener, so I immediately asked them, please give me this film. So
and I think it's a perfect film for it to end the film festival because it's talking about the absurdity of
I think so.
It's talking about the absurdity of the film. The film industry is just crazy.
A lot of laugh, and then also very deep thought behind that. So, and the Korean audience really love it and Lao too. And then I like the Ning Hao very much. So it will be a great experience for our audience.
Will be. I'll be there for it, so I can't wait to see the audience reactions to it because my audience in Toronto, we were laughing, and it's so like there's certain scenes that happen. You're just like, what just happened? The pig, the thing with the pig, and not spoiling it, but the scene with the pig. I was like, what is happening? And for me, I think it's like I think it's my favorite Andy Lau performance out of all of them, and I love his films. But it was just like, I was like, okay, Andy, like you reached another level with this film. So
it's really great in this film.
It is. So like I think you really got a good one on your hands for this one. You'll definitely good. So like it's finished, and what is the next thing for you now that the festival is going to be over? Sleeping
first, and then next month I have to go to the BIFF Film Festival, as you remember, and then from there directly go to Goa for the Film Bazaar attendance. So 2 more festivals there.
You're going to be so busy. Thank you so much, Anna, for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you, Kelly. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.